Okay, this is a video for 10.5.1G, arcs with chords and inscribed triangles. So let's just start with the first problem. So in class we learned that if chords, such as chord AD and chord BC, are congruent to each other, then the arcs that they intersect, which would be arc AD and arc BC, are also congruent to each other. So we can write arc AD is congruent to arc BC, and we know this because the two chords are congruent. Now, let's apply some other properties we learned. In problem number 4, we want to find the value of x. And one of the properties we talked about in class as well was that if a diameter of a circle bisects a chord, or if a diameter of a circle is perpendicular to a chord, then it bisects that chord. You can see that this line right here would be considered a diameter, and it is marked here as being perpendicular to that chord, to the blue chord that it crosses. And since it is perpendicular to that blue chord, that means it bisects it, which also means that it cuts it in half. And so if half of that chord is 7, that means the other half is also 7, which means that x has to equal 7. Alright, moving on. Find the indicated angle. So we can see that we want to find this angle right here, which is part of an inscribed angle, which is also part of an inscribed triangle. So we worked on this yesterday, inscribed angles within circles, and this blue angle right here, which is what we learned yesterday, has to be half the degree measure of the arc that it intersects. So that intersects with this red arc right here. So the question mark angle has to be half the measure of what the red arc is. So what we want to do is figure out what the red arc is and then divide it by 2, and that'll give us the measure of the angle. They tell us that this arc is 118. We know that this line right here is a diameter, so it's splitting the circle in half, and so this half is 180. So for us to find the missing red piece, we want to subtract 180 and 118 from 360. When we do that, we get 62 degrees. So we know that the red arc is 62 degrees. And again, that inscribed angle is going to be half of that measure. So 62 divided by 2 is 31 degrees. So the question mark equals 31 degrees. Alright, let's do one more problem. Again, the directions say find, or this time it says find the indicated arc. So we know an inscribed angle using this inscribed triangle. We know this is 39 degrees, and what we want to do is use that information and a couple other things to find the measure of this arc. First thing to notice is kind of apply what we did in the last problem. This angle intersects this arc at 2 different spots, at T and S. And so this angle is half as big as this arc measure. So the arc measure is going to be what this angle is, which is 39 times 2. 39 times 2 is 78. Also, you can see that from T to R is a diameter again, which splits the circle in half. So this half of that circle is 180 degrees. So the last thing we have to do to figure out the question mark is subtract 180 and 78 from 360. 360 minus 180 minus 78. Write that down. 360 minus 180 minus 78 equals 102. So we know that the question mark measure is 102 degrees.